Reddit, what have your pets done that is worryingly smart? I have a 3-month-old pup who got dirt in her eye one day. The eye kept tearing up and she held it partly shut for a few hours. During that time I felt really bad for her and handed out a lot of treats. Since then, when I am eating, she begs by winking that eye with a tiny whimper. Her wink is non-stop. If she's called by someone else in the home she looks at them with perfect eyes. I get the broken eye once she gets the goods fully working eyes. She is a mix from a stray. My cat's done something similar. My husband and him were playing and somehow he managed to twist his foot. For a month after, every time he walked past a room my husband was in he'd start limping. He made sure my husband saw it every time. Once he was safely past the door he would resume walking completely sound. We had a dachshund growing up and he could tell when my mom was going to have a seizure. He would start circling her over and over, barking. Ironically, he ended up with epilepsy himself but it didn't shorten his lifespan. They helped each other out. He lived 17.5 years. I miss that dog. Our dachshund had seizures too, where he couldn't walk, would cramp and vomit a little. He didn't have it happen too often though. He lived for about 15 years. Every day when my brother and I pull in the driveway from school we can see our dog on my brother's bed at the window above the garage, where he knows he isn't allowed to be. When we walk into the house he is laying behind the living room couch and picks his head up and looks at us like he's been sleeping there all day. I had a yabby in my freshwater tank that is a genius. I one day watched him gather some food pellets into his cave, wait for the fish to eat the rest, then a few minutes later place them in front of the cave entrance, then attacked and ate a fish that came to eat the pellets. He stockpiled his meal to later bait an even better meal. That sucker is in his own tank now. That's brilliant. My yabby used to arrange plastic rocks in different color combinations every day. One day it may be one pile for each color, and the next all the blue and yellow on one side of the tank and the pink and green on the other, etc. He was probably really bored. One of my dogs knows how to open door handles. The other one can't even figure out that he's not supposed to eat rocks. It's a mixed bag with my pets. When I get asked to do some things, I'll groan jokingly and do the thing anyway. Now, when I call my dog while she was sleeping or if I accidentally nudge her at the foot of the bed, then she groans with attitude like I would. Kind of adorable. Kind of freaky. My dog does this too. I swear he has such an attitude. My cats teamed up and got a tub of butter off the kitchen worktop, took it outside, removed the lid and had an all-you-can-eat butter party. A friend's cat figured out how to get the cover off the butter container so he could lick it. The funny part is he learned how to put it back on so my friend and his wife would uncover it and find huge dents in the middle of the stick. It took them months to figure out what was going on, and now they have to buy locking butter dishes. They figured out that if they want the toy or bone the other has, to go to the front door and bark like a stranger is walking up to the house. When the other dog shows up to assist in barking, run like heck to get the toy. It's not just clever but dishonest in the worst kinda way. Just wait till they start using it to steal your spot on the couch. Growing up, I had a yard that was surrounded by fence except at the entrance where the cars came in at the front. My dog knew she wasn't allowed to go outside the yard, so when we'd call her and she was out gallivanting, she would go to the neighbor's yard in the back, hop the fence and come back over, then strut around the backside to the front like, hey, I've been here the whole time. I only found out because one day I was walking around the house calling for her and caught her. Sneaky bee. This is similar to my dog. Before I wouldn't allow him on one of the couches, a rocking lazy boy style one, but he loved it. At night he would sleep in it, but if he heard me coming downstairs, he'd quickly jump off, run over to his bed and try to time it so it looked like he was coming from his bed as I walked down the last set of steps. Brilliant plan, except I could still see the chair rocking. I had a cat that learned how to open the fridge, and then my dog started begging my cat for food, and then the cat started getting into the fridge just to feed the dog. I patiently await the day where my pets decide to overthrow me and have me fixed. I'm not fighting it. That'll only make it worse in the long run. That's hilarious. It reminds me of a cat and dog I had a long time ago. The cat was always up on the counter and knocked leftover food down for the dog, who was jumping up and down with joy. That taught me to never leave any food out anymore after he ate half a chocolate cake that way. We were looking after a friend's dog. We came home from work in the evening with a huge pile of dirt by the front door. The dog, and like every other time we came home, was lying on the couch looking very guilty about something. You know the look. It took us forever to figure out where the dirt came from. We had an old flower pot downstairs on a shelf. The pot had been emptied by the front door and the pot returned to the shelf like nothing had happened. I can just imagine the papa picking up the flower pot, walking around with it, then dumping it out, and he's like, crap, I'll just put it back on the shelf, they won't notice. I have 2 horses, Red and Mickey. They are yarded next to each other, and there is enough of a gap in the fence that a clever horse may work out that they can just manage to pinch the other's hay through it. Red took it a step further and realized that if he could steal Mickey's hay, Mickey could steal his. So he waits until Mickey is distracted by his bucket feed, and then Red takes his own hay from his own feeder and deposits it across the yard, where it's safe. He then goes back and takes Mickey's hay and deposits it where it is safe. Then Red eats his hard feed and 2 lots of hay. We had to move all the hay feeders. My former horse was a big escape artist, so we put him in a small electrified pen. He was barefoot, so he figured out that if he stood in the sandy soil and just barely touched his whiskers to the electric fence, it would ground out, and then he could jump or bust out without getting shocked. He understood electricity a lot better than I do. My cat figured out how to fill up my bathtub. He learned how to close the drain and would turn the water handle and would just sit there and watch the tub slowly fill up. It took me weeks to figure out what was going on. He may be planning to drown you. Also watch out for any toaster or hairdryer moving activity. Be careful. Not current pet but a dog I had as a teenager. Dog jumps up on the couch. No, you're not allowed on the couch. Go lie in your bed. Dog leaves the room. A moment later he returns with his bed and throws it on the couch. Gets back up on the couch in his bed and stares at me. Fair enough. This would be my exact response. If my dog is smart enough to understand my meaning and also derive a loophole from it, then wow. Guess I'll applaud that. One of my cats learned how to turn the internet off. He realized everybody goes crazy when he goes behind the TV stand and messes up with the wires. So when we're not paying enough attention to him, usually if we're on our phones or the computer, he just unplugs the router. I don't think he knows how much power he has. Every morning for breakfast I always eat fruit, and that weekend there was a farmer's market selling fruit for cheap, so I bought a ton. I couldn't fit them in the fridge, so I left a few bags on the side in the dining room, reachable distance. I crap you not. I woke up and was surprised to see an apple next to me. Over the next few days, my dog would get up in the morning, go in the bag, and get a fruit to put next to me on the bed. He proceeded to do this for the next 2 weeks until we ran out. I thought it was the cutest thing ever, but a part of me is like, holy crap. Your dog brought you breakfast in bed. That's the cutest thing I've read all day. When my dad was having a difficult time in life, he moved into my apartment. He's really into sports and mostly deaf, so when he enthusiastically cheers for his beloved Detroit Tigers, he doesn't realize how loud he is. One early evening while I was asleep, because I work midnights, the Tigers scored or something and my dad loses his mind, which woke me and my cat up. I grumbled and closed my eyes, but my cat Mike was not having it. She walked into the living room and all I hear is my dad go, "Oh, sorry, I'll be quiet." And then my cat walked back into my room, jumped back on the bed, and we both went back to sleep. I don't know how to break this to you, but I think you're living in a sitcom. We used to keep my childhood dog in the garage while we were at school. She once found an old garage door opener, figured out how it worked, and buried it in an old dead potted plant in the garage. When we left for the day, she would nose around in the dead plant till the door opened and go play with the neighbor's dog in their living room, because she also figured out how to open their sliding door and let herself in. My cat was sleeping on her cat tree when I walked over to look through stuff on the table next to the tree. I scratched her on the head and woke her up, then turned away to do whatever it was I was there for. I felt a tap on my shoulder, so I turned around, and as soon as I was facing the cat, she reached out and smacked me across the face. She then went back to sleep. Not so much worrying as it is somewhat annoying and funny, but my golden will walk up to the Xbox, look at the Xbox button, boop it with his nose and wait for the light to turn on and the chime to sound. and then just walk away all satisfied looking. For a couple of months I would come home from work and notice the Xbox was on, but no, I had turned it off. I accused my fiancé of leaving it on until one day I was in the next room and heard the chime. So I ran in and he was walking away from it. Then he started to get flagrant about it and do it right in front of me, and eventually turn it off if I was playing it, and he wanted my attention. Goldens are a trip. I love my Golden for these reasons. One night I had paused a movie on my laptop and fell asleep. He was laying at the bedroom door and could see the movie. He isn't allowed in the room, but he thought we should keep watching, so he snuck onto my bed and hit the space bar. I didn't wake up until the loud fight scene well in and freaked out. He was just curled up on my bed watching. My cat will look very intensely at where I'm sitting, making me think I'm sitting on a toy or maybe some treats, so I'll get up and she'll quickly curl up in my spot so I can't sit back down. Then I have to go find a new seat to sit in. She taught the other one to do it too. They are seat stealing buttholes. I would do the old trick when my cat yawns to stick my finger in his mouth. Dunno why I do it. I guess it's just funny to see his expression when boom, suddenly finger. So the other day he is sitting on my lap, and I yawn. He wakes up and does a stretch, perfectly putting his paw in my mouth. Boom, suddenly paw. Still no idea if by accident or if planned. His smug expression afterwards makes me lean towards the latter. Not as much smart, rather worryingly calculated. On Christmas Eve I was wrapping the cat's favorite treats because I'm that person. The three boys weren't too fussed about this, but Amber, the princess, wanted the treats now. Of course she's a cat and has no concept of Christmas, so I gave her one of her normal treats and put the presents away. She was not amused by this. Now the thing about Amber is that she never came upstairs. She had tiny little legs that made the journey too long, so she commandeered the downstairs instead. But that night I was woken up by weird cat chirping. I opened my eyes and on the shelf eye level across from me was Amber. I was confused as to A, why she was upstairs, and B, how she got on my shelf. As I was thinking this, whilst maintaining eye contact, she stuck out a paw and swiped one action figure off the shelf. I didn't react at first, so she did another, and another. By the third I realized what she was doing and I said her name in shock, to which she hopped off the shelf and left my room like it was nothing. And that confirmed my suspicions that Amber held grudges and exacted revenge. My cat would do that at 4 AM. I used to work night shift and get home around then and play with her. When my shifts changed, she would try to wake me up at 4 to play. If I ignored her, that's what she would do. Knock crap down while looking at me. When I would get up all pee off, she would start purring. This is a payday meowth. Like in the next 24 hours and money will come your way. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.